As I'm sure many of you are already aware, this week was Develop Brighton. During this, there were several interviews, panels, keynotes, and an award ceremony at the end. During this, we got a pretty big interview with Todd Howard, where he made some very interesting and very informative statements on Starfield, the future of the engine for Starfield and the Elder Scrolls 6, and even some pretty interesting background on Fallout 76's development and how things ended up where they are. If you missed my full video on that, I will have it linked in the eye or in the description. But another interesting reveal around this was actually kind of a leak, or confirmation of a leak. So seemingly one of the big reasons Todd Howard was attending this or actually got interviewed during this was he was actually earning an award from Develop Brighton. That was the Develop Star Award 2020. And with this video, there was several employees from Bethesda to kind of give their own comments on Todd Howard and their experiences with him working at Bethesda and working alongside him. So you might be sitting here wondering, okay, how did any of that lead to a leak or anything to do with Starfield? Well, as I'm sure many of you have seen over the past couple of months, there were a couple of Starfield leaks to come out. A few ship images, some armor images, and even several in-game screenshots, or claimed to be in-game screenshots. And what we could actually find is during this Develop Brighton Star Award segment, one of the employees at Bethesda actually does have a logo on their sleeve that seems to very closely resemble the logo we could actually see on the sleeve of the player character in these images that were put out. And I mean, there's really not much to say on this, just if you zoom in, you could see there is a lot of resemblance here. A lot of the finer details, like the position of what are kind of seeming to be stars, nearly match up perfectly. And I really can't think of any explanation outside of this kind of inadvertently confirming the leak. This leak came out over a month ago now. Seemingly these Develop Brighton interviews were recorded relatively recently. So unless an employee at Bethesda got a shirt made inspired by a Starfield, which would just kind of be insane, or the ultimate troll, which would be hilarious, it seems like this is probably going to be a significant logo in Starfield, and in turn, the official merch of Starfield, or maybe even just the unofficial internally used merch, will also feature that logo in some capacity. And perhaps this employee either never saw the leaks or didn't put two and two together. I feel like that's kind of a really easy mistake to make. You're just kind of wearing a shirt. But of course, the broader implication of this being that it likely does confirm at least all of these in-game images are totally confirmed, as well as some of those other ones could be confirmed. So in the background, I'm going to be showing you all of the images we got in total. As far as how these came to be, a couple were from a Reddit post, some were from YouTubers, both Skullsy and ESO shared some of them, and one was actually posted on a Discord server. But seemingly they all came from one singular source. They were just kind of distributed through these different outlets. So at the very least, I would say this almost undoubtedly confirms with 100% certainty that these in-game shots are legit. I don't really see any other logical or even really plausible explanation for this occurring. This would be a massive and just fairly unlikely coincidence, but also definitely seems to confirm something like that ship picture that did come also with that original image leak where we could see this logo. Now what that means also has been debated back and forth to death. Spaceships being in a space game isn't all that crazy. What could be kind of crazy is if we're actually able to pilot them in more of a real-time setting, not just a certain fast travel point or a functionality like we have with the Outer Worlds where you just get on it then travel somewhere else, but you don't really control it directly. Or perhaps some of these big engine upgrades are going to feature things like real-time vehicle and space travel. Separate from that, I've also seen some theories more almost on the conspiracy side, suggesting that this is an intentional leak by Bethesda or Microsoft, and some are taking the fact that this shirt is being worn and kind of confirming this leak inadvertently as more proof this is all intentional. I still think that's crazy. I think this is probably just somebody wearing a shirt on accident. I feel like that's a really easy mistake to do. You're recording a couple minute long segment for an award that your boss is getting. I don't think Bethesda would have recalled all of these shirts after the leak went live. And even further, if these leaks really are originating from 2018, it doesn't really make sense for them to just get posted now around the time of the Microsoft deal. If anything, it seems like a coincidence, or perhaps Bethesda being in the news by the Microsoft deal is what pushed the leaker to actually eventually share them. And then lastly, one final thing a surprising amount of people are talking about is that this could mean the game is pretty close to release since merch is already made. And although I guess I kind of see that perspective, no, this doesn't really confirm anything one way or another about development. Again, reportedly this leak was from 2018. That's when this image was taken. So the shirt could be 2 approaching 3 years old at this point. Just because Bethesda made a few shirts for their next upcoming title and are sharing them with certain developers or employees does not mean the game is almost ready for release. I mean, Starfield probably is almost ready for release. I think many expect a 2021 release date, but this shirt doesn't mean anything. Companies will do limited runs of merchandise all the time. It wouldn't be shocking for Bethesda to do that. Either way, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more speculation or intrigue into these images now. now, since this is more of a concrete confirmation. Before, the confirmation was more so that it just kind of looked like Starfield and you couldn't find another game that it matched up with, but this time we have something that we could directly point to as, oh yeah, this actually looks pretty likely to be Starfield. Either way, hopefully you guys found this one informative. As always, again, I thank you all for watching, but with that said, I hope to see you all next time. Later.